Hello in there in YouTube world. My name is General Kenobi, and like always, I got a good one for you today. About a year and a half ago, I did a top 10 90s list, where I went over some of my favorite 90s TV shows. Well, this video is a sequel to that. I'm going to be expanding the timeline for this video a little bit, so I can cover more some of the TV shows that I wanted to go over in the last video, but couldn't because of what year they took place. So I'm going to be doing nothing earlier than 1985. So anything before 1985 is not going to be on here. And nothing later than 2005. If the show came out after 2005, it's not going to be on here. And even though these are numbered, there's not really a top 10. I'm just numbering them to make it a little easier. Like I said, this is just to cover the ones that I did not get when I did the top 10 90s shows. So with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy the next 10 90s TV shows.
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, Color.
Do not try any of the experiments you are about to see at home.
You heard him. Don't do it.
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage.
Here comes chaos.
And Jamie Heineman.
Relax. This won't hurt a bit.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
Bye-bye.
Joining them, Carrie Byron.
High explosives and electricity. Woo!
Tori Belleci.
Crashes and fire. This is awesome.
Grant Imahara.
Hooray!
And featuring Jesse Combs.
That was awesome!
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
These guys are awesome. The show features Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman as they put various urban myths and legends to the test. And they have done a lot of myths over the course of their 14-year run. Now the original Mythbuster show has ended. One of the reasons that it ended was because Adam and Jamie could not stand each other. They were not friends, they were co-workers, but that was about it. They didn't hang out together, go out to have dinner after a show. No, they could not stand each other. And it was getting to the point where they were worried that it was going to start affecting the show. So the show was already starting to lose some of its audience and some of the ratings that they had. So they decided to end the show while it was still very popular and before their working relationship really took a plunge. Now they did bring the show back with new Mythbusters. I did watch a couple episodes of it, but it just wasn't... It was Mythbusters, but it just wasn't the same. However, this past year, January of 2019, they brought the show back again with Mythbusters Jr. That show was actually good. What it was, they brought in young kids who are very smart. To give you an idea how smart, one of the kids is 12 years old, and he was either a sophomore or junior in high school. He's definitely a smart one. Now you're probably wondering, how are they able to do the stuff that they did on the original Mythbusters? Well, the host of the show is Adam Savage. He helps out the kids some. Like if they're doing something that can be a little dangerous for kids to do, he'll step in and help them. But it's the kids doing the experiments, putting them together, doing all the science, doing everything that the show is based on. The kids are doing it, and they do have a couple adults helping them to build stuff. But that actually was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, one of the Mythbusters' favorite things to do was explosions. Just about every single episode, there was an explosion of some kind. Some of them were intentional, some of them were not. Let's take a look at some of my favorites. brings a tear to my eye, it does. Moving on.
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, Color.
He's a phantom. Danny Phantom. Young Danny Phantom, he was just 14 when his parents built a very strange machine. It was designed to view a world unseen. He's gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's Danny Phantom. When it didn't quite work, his folks, they just quit. But then Danny took a look inside of it. There was a great big flash, everything just changed. His molecules got all rearranged. When he first woke up, he realized he had snow white hair and glowing green eyes. He could walk through walls, disappear, and fly. He was much more unique than the other guy, and it was then that he knew what he had to do. He had to stop all the ghosts that were coming through. He's here to fight for me and you. He's gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's Danny Phantom. He's gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's Danny Phantom. He's gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's Danny Phantom.
This show is really cool. It stars Danny Fenton, who is a sophomore in high school. He gets superpowers in the form of ghost powers. He becomes half boy, half ghost. And he uses those powers to protect his town from ghost invasions as Danny Phantom. How did nobody figure out his secret identity? Not even his parents. Danny's parents are ghost experts. They hunt ghosts. And I want to say through half of the first season, nobody believed in ghosts. But there was one incident where ghosts actually revealed themselves, and Danny's parents, Jack and Maddie Fenton, kind of revealed, oh, okay, we can actually start doing things now. We can actually start using our ghost hunting equipment to hunt ghosts. And Danny became like Emily Park's number one hated ghost. But over time, people did start to like him. I think there was only 3 people in the town who did not like him. 2 of them were his parents. Makes sense. But you mean to tell me that his parents could not figure out that Danny his parents couldn't figure out that Danny Fenton was Danny Phantom? Figure that one out. Anyway, there is a couple comparisons to Spider-Man here. What I mean is, Parker is a down-on-his-luck, geeky kid who has little to no friends and was constantly picked on in high school. I think he was also picked on in his earlier years, but we don't really know that for sure. Danny is the same. One of the major differences here is that Danny is not a genius. He gets mostly C's. Mostly. And Danny did not lose a loved one to compel him to do good. He didn't lose an uncle or someone close to him. No, he just from the get-go he decided that he was gonna use his powers for good. I would love for the show to make a comeback, but at the same time, I don't want it to, for fear of being ruined. Something that the show's creator did. I forget what the name is. I'll put what the show's creator name is here. It's been over 10 years since Danny Phantom ended, and what he did was on a couple of YouTube videos, he did drawings of what the characters would look like 10 years later and what they're doing. And about the whole fear thing, my first officer once said, "Only fools have no fear." Words to live by.
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, Color.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
If nautical nonsense be something you wish,
SpongeBob SquarePants!
then drop on the deck and flop
This show was awesome. Yes, I said was. The show is still going on today. I liked the show before the first movie, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. That movie was good. I enjoyed it. After the movie, it went downhill from there. I did still watch it. There are still some good episodes that came out after the first movie. But now, just no. The show centers around the titular character, SpongeBob SquarePants, and his adventures in the underwater world of Bikini Bottom. Now, a couple little fun facts back to the movie. The very first movie. It actually was supposed to be the end of SpongeBob. Because the plot of the movie is SpongeBob wants to become the manager of the new Krusty Krab 2. And he thinks he's going to get it. Because, honestly, he deserves it. At the end of the movie, he becomes the manager. That would be a good ending for SpongeBob. Becoming the manager of the restaurant that he loves. But because the movie did so good, they just kept shelling out money. They keep getting money. So, there you go. Now, I can actually do the SpongeBob laugh. I've seen how the guy does it. What he does is he laughs, he puts his finger on his throat, and moves his throat up and down. So, you actually see him, and he goes to the laugh, and he goes, "Bah!" The only problem is that actually really hurts my throat. But I'm sure the guy has done it enough times where he's able to do it without hurting his throat. There's not really too much to say about this show, other than I would not mind trying a Krabby Patty one time. I wonder what the secret formula is.
Okay, the secret formula is...
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, Color.
A series about Chuck Norris kicking butt. What could possibly go wrong?
That everything could go wrong!
Actually, not really. The show is really good. It does center around Cordell Walker, portrayed by Chuck Norris, who is a Texas Ranger. Now, because it is Chuck Norris, there is a lot of martial arts fighting in this show. Because it's Chuck Norris. But it's good. And the show itself can be pretty funny.
Lisa, would you go behind my pickup truck and pull down the tailgate for me, please? Elena, would you stand over there, too?
Ranger, we're leaving.
You're leaving all right, but you're going to jail.
No way. No more jail. Never!
Let me see.
You broke my nose!
I'll fix it. Nah, looks better the other way.
Ranger, you screwed up. You forgot to read us our rights.
You're right. You have the right to remain silent.
Unfortunately, if anybody tried to do this today, it would not end very well. Or this, for that matter. Okay, I'm done.
Let me see.
You broke my nose!
I'll fix it. Nah, looks better the other way.
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, color.
Seatbelts, everyone! Please let this be a normal field trip. With a friend? No way!
Cruising on down Main Street, you're relaxed and feeling good. Next thing that you know, you're seeing puss in the neighborhood, surfing on the sine wave, swinging through the stars. Take a left at Human Testing, take your second right past Mars on the magic school bus. Alligator nostril, climb on the magic school bus. Spank a plankton too.
Take that!
On the magic school bus. Drop the river of love on the magic school bus. Such a fine thing to do. So strap your bones right to the seat. Come on in and don't be shy. Just to make your day complete. You might get baked into a pie on the magic school bus. Step inside, it's a wild ride. Come on, ride on the magic school bus.
Just like with Bill Nye the Science Guy, if you were in elementary school during the 90s and you had a sub for science class, chances were you would watch this show on VHS. The show featured the elementary class of Miss Valerie Frizzle as she took her class on one-of-a-kind field trips with the help of her personal vehicle, the Magic School Bus, which she actually built. What kind of field trips? Well, let's say you're learning about the planets in the solar system. However, the planetarium is closed. Well, with a magic school bus that can transform into a rocket, you can just go right out into outer space. Thank you. And get an up-close and personal view of all the planets. Now, just like Bill, they did bring the show back. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. I watched a little bit of it. It's not bad. If it's something that you want to sit down and watch with your kids, there's something really wrong with it. I do recommend watching the original because the original is on Netflix also. But the show is just not the same. It's the same characters, same ideas, same school bus, but it's not. But Miss Frizzle isn't the teacher. It's her younger sister, I think. But it's just not the same. But nowhere near as bad as another show, which will not be named, and if you play it, I will hurt you. You're warned! Sorry about the mess.
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, color.
Rescue Ranger!
This show was part of a program called the Disney Afternoon. For more information on that, check out the Nostalgia Critic. I'll put a link to the video in the description. The show centered around the chipmunk duo of Chip and Dale, as they form a team called the Rescue Rangers to help out anyone who needs help. They kept the personalities of the duo for the show, so Chip was the responsive one who followed the rules and was a good leader. Dale was the goof-off who was lazy and he had to be yelled at to do his part. Even just doing a little cleanup around their little hangout base, he needed to be yelled at to do that. Nice little fun fact, Chip and Dale for the show were modeled after Indiana Jones, that's Chip, and Magnum P.I., Dale. Chip had the fedora and leather jacket, and Dale had the Hawaiian shirt. Another character from the show, Gadget, was like MacGyver, able to make something out of nothing. Speaking of which,
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, Color.
MacGyver is definitely one of a kind. He can make literally anything out of nothing. Explosives, a bunch of other things that I can't think of off the top of my head. And he uses a lot of duct tape and paper clips. I mean a lot of duct tape. Two things that you can always find in MacGyver's possession: a roll of duct tape and his Swiss Army knife. Always find one of those two things in his possession. Or both. Now the really cool thing about him is that he refuses to use a gun. He hates them with a passion. That's because when he was a kid, him and some friends got a hold of a gun that belonged to one of the parents of his friends. They took it to a secure location, and they were just shooting a can, but one of them saw a bird and tried to shoot the bird. MacGyver's like, no, don't do that. And he bumped the friend. The gun dropped and went off. And ended up shooting one, and the bullet ended up going into the gut of one of his other friends. And he ended up dying because of that. There was one point in the show, it was actually the show's pilot, where MacGyver actually fires a gun, but then as soon as he does that, he hands the gun to the person that he's saving. Now that doesn't mean MacGyver doesn't completely not use guns. He uses them in his little what they call MacGyverisms. Like one time he needed to unscrew a screw that was really tight. Didn't have a wrench or anything because they ended up losing the wrench, but they had a gun. So he took the gun apart. It was a revolver. Took the gun apart, and then used the gun as a wrench. He definitely thinks outside of the box. Now, I'm sure you're hearing all this and you're wondering, is anything that he did on the show actually possible? Well, let's ask our resident Mythbusters. And yes, I'm referring to the same Mythbusters. They did, I want to say, 3 episodes. They did MacGyver stuff. 2 episodes were just kind of like one. They just did one segment of MacGyver, where they did one of the things they did on the show. There was one episode where it was dedicated entirely to MacGyver, and they actually review MacGyver as one of their idols. One of the things that MacGyver did on the show was there was a bomb in a mail truck. MacGyver was trying to get the truck to the river, but there was no time. He got blocked in traffic. He spotted a cement truck and told the guy to fill the mail truck with cement. Now, at first, the truck driver was like, the cement truck driver was like, no, you're kidding. And when he realizes that MacGyver's serious, he actually does help out. In the show, it worked because it's a TV show. However, would it work in real life? Let's take a look.
Let's clear the area. Let's start pumping. MacGyver's back on track to save the day.
In the clip, it looks like almost nothing happens at all.
Okay, wet concrete explosion in 3.
Like there's a boom and the truck jumps, there's a little fire, and that's it.
2.
That would be the most ideal outcome.
1. Wow. That totally went off, and all the dummies are standing. It worked.
That worked gangbusters.
It did.
It's an astonishing result. As per the clip, the explosion was almost completely smothered.
That is amazing. I'm completely blown away.
Let's face it, some of the stuff we've seen on MacGyver is downright silly. But this one turned out to be actually darned impressive.
So yes it does. Now, that doesn't mean that everything worked. One of the first big things that MacGyver did was, this was in the pilot episode, he needed to get into an adjacent room. A bomb had gone off in the place, and the room, so he couldn't get into a room they needed to get into. But they were in a room that had some, not extremely dangerous chemicals, but there was some stuff in there that he can make a bomb out of. He got a gram of this object. I won't say what the object is for safety reasons. And he put it into a pill capsule, and got a good size container. He put the container full, and it was filled with water. He put it up against the wall, buried it in some dirt, and let time do its thing. Pretty much every single one of his experiments had some type of time delay, so he can get away or set up something else or something. In the show, it worked. It created a really good sized hole so he can crawl through. However, when they tried doing this on Mythbusters in real life, it didn't work. For them to be able to create the hole that was needed, they needed to bring in C4. And at that point, they just took the wall down completely. So yeah, not everything MacGyver did was possible.
I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, Color.
Timmy is an average kid that no one understands. Mom and Dad and Vicky always giving him commands. The doom and gloom up in his room is broken instantly. His magic little fish who grabs every wish, 'cause in reality they are his odd parents, fairly odd parents.
Wands and wings, floaty crowny things.
Odd parents, fairly odd parents. Really hot, neat, hot,
Juice, rubber, goose, green rose, guava juice, giant steak, birthday cake, large rice, chocolate shake.
Odd parents, fairly odd parents. You let you live when you are a kid with fairly odd parents.
Yeah, right.
Ever wonder what it would be like to be a 10-year-old boy and be able to wish for anything you wanted? Well, in this show, Timmy Turner was able to do just that. Timmy was a depressed child. His parents were borderline neglectful. I mean, it was close. And their babysitter was Vicky, Icky Vicky, who gets off on torturing little kids. There's no way of getting around that. So we got two fairy godparents, Cosmo and Wanda, who could grant his every wish.
And you can't wish away true love.
Okay, there are rules and regulations. Like you just mentioned, you can't wish away true love. You can't use magic to win a contest, because that's cheating. And the big one, no one can know about his fairies. If anyone finds out, they will go away forever. Now, you do eventually lose your fairies over time. As you grow older, you don't really need fairies anymore, and your fairies will go away. Now, when that happens, your mind is wiped, pretty much exactly like how they do in Men in Black with the pen thing, and that's to number one if Timmy were to reveal that he has fairies, then not only would his mind be wiped, but anybody who found out about his fairies, their mind would be wiped also, to kind of keep the fairies a secret. And also that happens when you lose your fairies as an adult, you lose all memories of ever having fairies. Now, fairies are masters of disguise. So you could have fairy godparents, and your parents wouldn't know because they disguise themselves as goldfish. Now, when your memory gets wiped about having fairies, your magical goldfish will just look, if it's in a picture like a memory photo, then it'll just look like a pair of goldfish. Now, unfortunately, just like with SpongeBob, this show went downhill. Now, some of the more recent things, like the 3 live-action short movies, were actually really cool. They portrayed a grown-up Timmy Turner, played brilliantly by Drake Bell, and kind of what would happen if Timmy decided, you know what, I don't want to grow up, I want to keep my fairies. You kind of see what happens there. Other than that, the new episodes, they're not good. It's another show that they really need to bring to an end.
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, Color.
Our worlds are in danger. To save them and the galaxy, we must find the 4 cyber planet keys before the Decepticons can use them for evil. It is our mission. Hotshot, Jetfire, Vector Prime, Landmine, Scattershot, Optimus Prime, transform and roll out. Transformers, moving meets line. Autobots, Decepticons. Transformers, robots in disguise. Transformers, Transformers. The Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
This was the Transformers show that got me and my brother into Transformers. Now, this was actually part of a 3-part series. Part 1 was Armada. Armada was really good. Part 2 was Energon. I tried watching Energon, I just could not get into it. And then this was the 3rd part. What makes this show interesting is 3 things. Number 1, how they show the transformations.
Optimus Prime, transform! Optimus Prime, transform! Enough to get rid of Thundercracker and keep the battle away from the humans. This is going to be tricky.
that was cool. To my knowledge, no other Transformers show or movie show the transformations like they did here. It's always, they do the thing and they're together. They never showed it like that where they actually show every little piece moving. Number 2, the Cyber Keys. The Cyber Keys were small fragments of the Cyber Planet Keys that they're looking for, and both sides, the Autobots and the Cons, could use them to give them a big jolt of energy and make their attacks more powerful. And finally, this.
You're the ones who wanted to fight us, right? Wow, then you should have the chance to battle the very best. Nothing but the most powerful Autobots is gonna be enough to satisfy 2 tough guys like you, right?
I guess.
Well, we could maybe take on someone a little less powerful, I guess. Oh, no. You want a battle, you should have the best one you can get. All right, let's do this. And I'll leave it power up to make sure you enjoy this fight. Guess what, guys? It's gonna be a quick one.
Now, I am aware that in the previous show, like Armada, Optimus Prime could do this, but I think this mode, Sonic Wing mode, is the best one. This show was good. There's really not too much else to say about it. Let's move on.
You know, I'm really easy to get along with most of the time. But I don't like bullies, and I don't like threats, and I don't like you, Color.
This is the one and only Teen Titans. Before you even say anything, Luther, I know what I said, so shut up. The show featured 5 DC heroes: Robin, Beast Boy, Cyborg, Raven, and Starfire, as they protect their city from evildoers. The show was funny and used a lot of the Japanese animation effects.
We need gravy, and plenty of it!
And you got Cyborg, the show's master at one-liners.
Oh yeah, the T-car is still in the race!
Whatever it is, back.
That's right, nothing can stop the T-car! I can't believe you two would just barge into Robin's room when he's gone, dress up in his uniform, and pretend to be Robin!
Well...
Without me!
Dude, suit up!
Oh, yes! Come robbining with us. It is most delightful.
I want my car.
Yeah, see, the thing is, we sort of lost it in a race.
You lost my car? My car lost a race?
No way. We beat him easy. She handled like a dream.
She did? How'd she take the curves? Because you know I've been working on the suspension for it. Don't try to distract me. It's one thing to mess with my car, but nobody goes auto shop on me. Fuzzy dice? Oh, now that's just tech. Dude, keep those nasty plastic brushes off my baby! Squash only.
Loser.
Jerk.
What did you say? Do you have a problem, Tin Man?
Yeah, it's 4 feet tall and smells like cheap hair gel.
Now, this isn't on here, but in their movie, The Titans Go to Tokyo, the movie starts with a big battle in the city, and that battle moves to Titan's Tower, and it's wrecked. They're slowly picking up the pieces, and Cyborg starts pointing things out that were damaged, and he's just about moved to tears. He goes, "I can repair my car. I can repair my tower. But my sofa? I can't even look." He's upset about the sofa. Your entire tower just got damaged. If I did have one complaint about the show, it was that alone, the heroes always got their butts kicked. It didn't matter who it was. If they're fighting them alone, they don't have a chance. But when they came together, they would win. I guess that kind of makes sense with the whole team thing, but I digress. And I know for a fact that Raven could kick every single bad guy's butt in this show. Easily. And she can kick them all the way back to the deepest, darkest part of my...
Silence!
Oh, sorry. So there you go. Another 10 of my favorite shows. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't already, hit the like button so I can do more videos like this. And also so you can keep up to date with me. I'll put a link to my Facebook page in the description. And so you know when I upload videos, hit that subscribe button. If it's red, click it so it's not red anymore. And until next time, this has been General Kenobi. Catch y'all later.
Okay, Nathan. You sound